contacted by Kate from BENU, and Kate says we are launching a new series of pens called the Talisman, and these are interesting pens because they all have materials embedded in the pens that people have used as talismans. Would you like to check it out? I said I do like to check it out. She said, which finish would you like? So she sent me a catalogue. I went through the catalogue, not actually like this because it was a digital catalogue, so more like this, and I found this one, and I had to have it because the finish is called Dragon Blood, and it contains actual dragon blood. Now, if you want to figure out how on earth it's possible to put the blood of a sort of mythical creature in a pen, then you have to stay tuned. But for now, a very kind thank you to BENU for sending me the pen. I really appreciate it. I will cover the parts of the pen, I'll do a writing sample, and I will tell you what I like and what I don't like about it. Let's get started. BENU Talisman. Sip of tea. The BENU pens come in these nice simple boxes with cursive, what I initially thought was Cyrillic on it. Now I'm actually in doubt a little bit. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's not a lesson in linguistics. I love these boxes. Why? Because when I buy a pen, then I like my investment to go into the pen, not into the box. So massive boxes with 40 different separate boxes in it. The size of one is the size of a house, and then in there is the size of a car. I don't care about that. This is a simple cardboard box. This whole thing can be recycled if you don't want to keep it, and that's pretty much all there's to it. Now, what do we have in here? We have this nice fluffy little material, which is great if you have a hamster. Here we have the warranty, right? I'm just going to put that away. Here you have the explanation of the Talisman series, in this case the Dragon's Blood, with the whole story, which I thought was very nice. It's colorfully illustrated. I really like that. And then, of course, we have the little paper sleeve the pen comes in. And then we have the actual pen. I will show you the pen right next to a Pilot Metropolitan. For size, you can see it's a little bit longer and definitely girthier. This is a pretty cool series of pens. So it's based on talismans and material that people use as talismans. In this case, the Dragon's Blood. I absolutely recommend you to read the whole story if you find it interesting, because it is very cute. Dragon's blood has been used for a long time in magic rituals and alchemy. Now, the problem, of course, is that dragons are not real. I hate to break the news to you, dragons are not real. So then what do you do? Well, the fun thing is that there actually is a tree, Dracaena Draco, aka the dragon's tree, and those trees have a red sap. And that red sap is called Dragon's Blood, is used in all kinds of potions these days by those who enjoy a good potion once in a while. And that specific sap has been put into this pen, which I think is really nice. Because I think it's cool. I think that's just a cool thing. And they've done similar things with Edelweiss, with Mandrake, with like all this. There's a whole bunch of pens to choose from in this series. It has a number 6 steel nib. You can get a fine, medium, and broad. The pens, I've seen them listed right now. They're scheduled to be released in June 2021. I've seen them offered for $122 US. I think it's cool, I think it's entertaining, but let's have a look at the pen. So, top of the pen, the finial, I think this finial worked out really well because you have that nice mix of red and green that I think works beautifully. You have these nice facets that are offset, so you have a large facet here and then 2 smaller facets there, and I think that offset, that works really well. Here we have sort of a center band with the BENU logo in it, and we have a clip, and what I really like about these clips is that you can operate them by pushing the back there. That works really well and solidly. Here we too have, over here again, we have a tapered barrel, we have again offset facets like that. the pen opens up by unscrewing the cap. The number 6 nib, it is a Schmidt nib, in this case broad. What I would like to point out is that the section has some red dots in it that I thought worked very well, because that does look like blood, which I thought was kind of cool given the theme of the pen. And then we have the barrel, it unscrews, and then we have this cartridge converter, simple cartridge converter. I would not be surprised, I haven't tried it because I don't care for eyedroppering pens, but given that this is, I'm assuming an acrylic or a resin, but it's basically plastic, and so is the section, you can probably eyedropper this, but I haven't tried it, so don't take my word for it, try it out. That's it. Nice size if you want to. It's sort of post, but I'll come back to that in likes and dislikes. For me, the section is very comfortable. It's quite long. There are no sharp step downs or anything. I think it's really quite nice. So, well done. Comfortable, works well, but now let's see if it truly works well. I have inked up this pen with, I must admit, rather a boring Waterman Serenity Blue, but it's a nice blue. So, we have the BENU Talisman Dragon's Blood. The nib is broad, the ink is, as I said, Waterman. I'm not going to write down Serenity, but the regular blue. Let's do a bit of writing. The writing is smooth. The writing is pretty wet. And when you do fast writing, it keeps up pretty well. As I said, as to wetness, there definitely is pretty good wetness. Pretty round nib, no real line variation, not really italic. Sometimes with broad nibs they get a little stub-like. This is not one of them, I would say. Line variation, it's, I mean, you can squeeze some out. It's not a flex nib, so I would be very, very careful. I don't find this the most yielding of nibs, and it's also not advertised as a flex nib, so that makes complete sense. If you turn it upside down, it's still relatively smooth. It can get away with a couple of words of much finer writing. So, that's it. Let's see what I like and what I don't like about this pen. What do I like? What do I not like about the BENU Talisman collection? In this case, the Dragon's Blood. BENU pens are not for everyone. They are very shiny, they are very sparkly. This is not an exception. So there's a lot going on in these pens. But I like that. BENU does something that other companies don't. BENU makes a statement with their pens. They are shiny and sparkly and flashy, and they often have interesting shapes that other companies don't touch. This pen is very interesting with all those facets, right? I think there's a lot going for it. It shows off the material nicely, and I like that. I also, beyond the design, I like the concept. I like the concept of taking a material, like in this case the sap from that tree, and putting it in the pen, or the Edelweiss, or the Mandrake. There were different finishes with that stuff put into the pen. I think that's nice. I mean, you either believe in talismans or you don't. I don't, but that's fine. The idea that was put in, I think, is kind of cool, and I kind of like that. The crucial test for any pen is, does it write? It does write, and it writes very well. It's a nice broad nib. It's a pleasant writer. I find the pen comfortable to hold. I like that BENU seems to have moved away a little bit from a lot of smaller pens to a more typically sized pen that works well for my hand size. That's why I like that. And of course, for other people, things may be different. But I like that, and I continue to follow with much interest the whole journey of BENU, because I think every time they launch a new pen, something really fascinating comes out. And I have to admit that I personally prefer that a lot more than the umpteenth color of Lamy Safari. This is something new every time. And I think that is very cool. That's just my opinion. Are there things I don't like so much? I can mention two things, and I don't think they're big things. One thing is this barrel at ends, it tapers a bit. It looks like it should really post, and it kind of does, but it's a little finicky to get the cap on. Is it a big deal? For me, not really, because posted or unposted, the pen's a comfortable size for me to use. And the final thing I will say, and it's really not a big thing, but I say this every time, so I feel the need to say it again. The nibs are unbranded, right? It is an unbranded Schmidt nib. It doesn't have the BENU logo on it. Now, I understand why to get nibs branded you need to buy tremendous amounts of nibs, which is a massive investment, and not every company can do that, or quite frankly has the intention or desire to do that. And I understand, it's not a big deal. What matters most to me is that it's a good nib and it writes really pleasantly. And that's what I care about most, right? So there is that. Just pointing it out. That's pretty much it. A very kind thank you to Kate for sending me this pen. I appreciate it. This one was particularly interesting because the fun story was it was sent to me through UPS from Russia. There was an error with sorting. It arrived at my door and I opened it up and it was just an empty UPS bag. And then they sent me another pen. Somewhere along the line something went wrong. I just thought it was kind of funny. But so this was difficult to get here, and without any issue, BENU just sent me a replacement pen immediately. That's always great communication. So in that regard, for me, it's a wonderful company to collaborate with. So there you have it. I hope this was useful, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye.